I'm David, and this is David Talks.
And I'm Dave, back on David Talks.
Let's get right into it. Diaper Awards goes out to New York City.
What happened in New York City?
I mean, a lot of times women they got baby carriages.
Mm-hmm.
And I know lately, a baby and his mom got hit by a car. The baby didn't make it.
Oh. I didn't even know. That's like on the news or something? Like
Yeah, it was on the news like last week. And I just think, yes, it's not just mothers with their babies. There's old people, senior citizens that can't cross fast enough. There's just regular normal people, and it's always a situation. I know that they can't control the middle of the block. That's why you got the whole crossing the green line between situation. I get that. But for the corners, so you have a lot of blind spots. And I notice myself, I have a lot of blind spots when I'm driving.
Right.
You just really can't see. There's just no way for you to see.
Right.
Maybe if they design cars different in the future or not, but maybe the corners, and I know especially in New York City, it's really, really a problem finding parking.
Right.
But what's more important? Parking or life. And I'm thinking that maybe the corners, they should just eliminate cars and be able to park on the corners with enough, view to be able to see if someone's, before you turn the corner. I mean, and that's a situation not just with pedestrians, but also with cars. A lot of times you come out of a block and you literally can't see. A lot of times you have cars the whole car comes out in order for them to be able to see if it's a hill and different things like that. And I think, with so many situations, so many incidents where people are fatally wounded, or I should say, I don't want to say it, but yeah, people are deceased because of it.
Right.
And I know the man that hit the baby, he was also distraught. He was in a bad mental state. And a lot of times, they said he didn't have a license, but that, he just doesn't have a license. But what about those people with licenses? The point is that he was, that also destroys a person's life. That actually takes another person's life. So I think by now it's time, or it should have been time a long time ago, where they could figure out a way to save lives. And I think that the city, because they make all this money with if you leave your car parked after street cleaning, you get a ticket, or if you leave it double parked over a certain time, you get a ticket. They make all this money, so there's definitely their responsibility to do something about it. And I'm gonna definitely say they get 5 diapers. I think this is ridiculous.
5 diapers. I don't know. I don't even have diapers, so that's just a whole nother. So the city, the city gets diapers.
Exactly. It's definitely on a whole nother level.
I mean, what I could say about that is, from when I was younger, the speed limit went down another 10. I guess from 35 to 25. So even with the 25 an hour, that's still pretty fast.
Super fast.
So I can't imagine a 35 an hour. That must have been just outrageous.
I mean, but honestly, 25 miles per hour, you getting hit by a car, but it's still dangerous.
I mean, as a driver, going low, slower than 25 an hour is kind of slow. It's just like kind of redundant at that point, right?
Yeah, it's pretty slow, and some people might say it's enough time to slow down. And I'm sure it is enough time to slow down. Aside from that, we do have, and I know, people on their phones and they're texting, even though it's against the law, people are going to still do it. Even if you're looking for the GPS, or even if you don't have your phone itself, you have the GPS built in the car. That's not even the point. The point is that, you would think by now they would somebody would just say, hey, you know what? Let's just make it a little more safer for cars, turning corners, collisions. Let's make it more safer for, more importantly than property, which that's another story in itself in regards to how much time you would do for armed robbery versus how much time you do for manslaughter. That's another story in itself. But you would think by now somebody would say, hey, look, it's a blind spot. You know, let's you know, get these corners together so people can see. I think it's so long overdue, and I wonder if that's ever going to even change.
That's a lot. Yeah, I can't even match them diapers. Yeah, I wish you could play some kind of jingle bells right now to take us out of the bull, but that's insane.
Yeah, just, you know, I know it's a serious thing. We do diaper awards for fun and everything like that. But yeah, I think it's, you know.
Nah, it's to get it off your chest, to kind of cool it off, you know.
Yeah, I feel better. Just, you know, and hopefully somebody could take heed and say, hey, you know what, let's do that. Let's make a change.
Right.
You know,
we gotta like name that diaper gotta be with, you know, full of octane or something, because they can't get 5 diapers with somebody else getting 5 diapers.
Well, I understand that.
I mean, you can't even blame the driver, even though it is probably his negligence.
Sometimes, you know,
I think sometimes things happen.
It's really hard. You know, you're just driving along, and all it takes is for you to talk to somebody and turn your head 1 second. And people do it all the time. No matter who you are, if you have a motor vehicle of any sort and you're driving with someone, you're gonna turn and look at them, even if it's just for whatever. If someone tells you watch out, or you're having a conversation, but even if you're just driving straight down, you're alert, you're aware of things. Somebody could easily come from behind a car, walk out. You know.
Alright, I'm getting out of here.
So no, what's your diaper award?
Alright, my diaper award goes out to everybody fighting on the lines to get them Jordan 11s, the breads.
Really?
Yes. Fighting on the lines.
Alright.
They're getting diapers, man. So this weekend on Saturday, Jordans, you know, every December, usually at the end of the year, they release Jordan 11s. It's like a tradition. And sometimes it'll be the Columbias, it'll be the Space Jams, but this year was the Bread 11s. And to my understanding, they haven't had Bread 11s since 2012.
Okay.
That in itself should say, like, okay, you know, they're repeating sneakers. You know, they're coming out. You know, some people might argue that that's a diaper award within itself.
Right.
I understand this whole sneaker thing. I get it. But at the same time, if you're going to stay all night on the line for sneakers, you're gonna fight you lose out on your sneakers, and then then you go to jail. And it's just.
Well, so wait, who you giving the diaper? You giving the diaper award to the patrons, the customers that actually buying?
No. You guys do what you do. To the people that was fighting.
Oh, you give it to the people that was actually fighting.
Yeah, people fighting about you skipped me, I skipped you type situation. Okay. It's not even like someone went into the front of the line. It was more like I was saving a spot and stuff like that.
Oh, that's how it was?
But then after and what makes it crazy is after everybody ordered them online, which a lot of people, mostly everyone got them online, and people went to they still had available sneakers. After all this craziness, it's just like they weren't even that limited. And I guess usually they are limited.
Right.
But after fighting and going to jail, missing out on the sneakers, they're still available.
Well, I mean, you know,
the next day, some spots. I mean,
I think things like that in itself are one. Okay, obviously it's about ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one situation. I think it all stems from being bullied as children. I think that's something that starts sometimes at home, even with siblings, where it's like, you know, and I see babies do it. You know, that's mine. You know, mine. And it's funny because it only lasts for so long. Now, some people use it as an investment where, you know, they'll buy a pair of Jordans, which shout outs to Michael Jordan. I must say that. But, you know, it's one thing where, you know, they could use it to actually make a profit off it, and I get all of that, you know. It's another thing when it seems to me like they're looking for a reason to fight. I don't even think it's any more about, you know, the Jordan, the sneaker itself. I think it's more about, I'm tough than you, I'll beat you up.
So who created this culture? Because it's like, most sneakerheads that I know aren't about drama or that type of stuff. But it's like, it's almost an attitude of like a snobby, kind of like, I didn't see you here last week on this line. It's almost like its own, you know, culture.
Like an entitlement type of
yeah,
situation.
I've been coming here for years on this line. How dare you go in front of me? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's just
people,
like,
yeah.
it's just, yeah, you're right. It goes beyond this whole sneaker in the first place. It's just, you're wearing a sneaker to show it off at the next sneaker release.
That's very true.
Like, look, I got these 4 years ago. It's just like,
I mean, you know, I've stood on those lines. I've definitely stood on those lines for a pair of Jordans.
no, yeah, I've stayed on my share of
posits.
lines. Yeah, for all types of sneakers. And my argument isn't even about that. My argument is, if you take that much pride in buying these sneakers that aren't your sneakers, then you know, where's the respect for yourself to not put yourself in danger of, you know, going to jail or hurting someone or getting hurt.
I'm beginning to think that, you know, these lines are like going to the club. And, you know, and I don't mean clubs, because there's some clubs that I would go to that are barely any incidents at all, fun, everyone's there to party, have a good time, versus there's clubs you go to and people looking at you all tough and you know, they want to test you.
And that's another, you see, that's a whole conversation. Like, that's people that go to the club to fight, like for drama, or people that go to the club to be on their phones. Like, all of that to me is just pointless. It's just, it seems to be like the new thing. It's not new. I mean, it's been around in the fighting in the club, but I mean the new thing to just like say you did things, just to say you did it. Not even to do things to say you did it anymore. It's say you did things just to say you did it.
That's the thing too.
Another extra thing.
I mean, as long as you have friends or acquaintances that when someone does something like run down the street screaming, and then you know, you got your friends, family, acquaintances, or whatever have you, and they say things like, "Oh, you so crazy."
I see the Key and Peele thing like that. We try to out crazy each other and shit.
I mean, you're so crazy. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
And you know, as long as you have people like that,
That's psychology, though.
Well, yeah.
That's people like when people tell stories about them.
Yeah.
People,
oh, you remember the time?
Yeah, whether it's good or bad.
You jumped from roof to roof.
Yeah. People get excited. We can get into that.
And I have stories like that. For me, that are not. For me, that's not an exciting story.
Right. And I think that is for people that have those experiences. To them, those are like maybe even traumatizing, and they speak about it for therapy.
Yeah.
Other people might get excited, so they want to relive those experiences and do it for the wrong reasons. I mean, I found myself in that as a young, you know, when I was younger.
Right.
But those situations have gotten me into different situations, or even created the lifestyle of, you know, finding myself in those situations. What to me is the difference is people that actually put themselves in those situations to have those stories.
Well, that's very true. And one day, matter of fact, we'll do a show on the craziest things you ever did.
Yeah.
And we can do that. But the craziest things I've done, you know, I could easily have died.
Right.
Many times over. A lot of times I didn't really know what I was doing. I was so young. But as long as you have people that's gonna always, you know, find these things entertaining, people are gonna do them. Like, I can't believe you started a fight online with all these people. You didn't even know them, or you know, that kind of thing. Versus, what's wrong with you? Why? You know what? I'm not gonna hang out with you no more because this is all you do. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's almost like, you know what? I'm leaving.
Right.
Then that person will feel embarrassed and be like, oh, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then you have other people that feel obligated. Oh, I'm fighting, but you ain't fighting. I'm the only one fighting.
Yeah.
You know, and so they kind of push you into things.
That's very interesting. If someone is involved in a fight, do you feel that as a friend you should have their back if they're getting jumped? Do you think it's obligation?
Well, it is a form of obligation to some extent. Then it's it's a judgment call on the person that's in the situation. I feel like if that's a friend, whatever, friend.
Like a friend, yeah.
If that's a friend of yours, I feel that you should definitely do something. Okay, so you may not be a fighter, but you can call the police. Some people may say, "Oh, you're a punk. You calling the cops?" Okay, but your friend's alive. So maybe you are a punk, but your friend's alive, and maybe you are smart. Other people, they'll break it up. You don't know the situation. You don't know how many people. It's a judgment call, and then you're gonna have other people that's gonna walk away because maybe they don't think that's their fight, or they not worth getting hurt for, or maybe they just scared.
So if your friend's on the line getting skipped for Jordans, and they start fighting, do you say, "Yeah, I really kind of want these Jordans," or do you have your real friends back? And so it's like,
well, I'm gonna be honest. Personally, I'm not gonna be fighting for no sneakers. I would hope that's not the situation.
Right.
But the stigma of the type of people that go to these, it's funny, these line parties. These line parties, right? Because that's what they do. They go there, they flossing. I notice a lot of people, they're not even online. They got their little crowd on the side, and they expect people to hold their spot for them, whatever the case is.
I don't think that's right, by the way.
No, it's definitely not right. I agree. You get out of line. I had a situation actually. Oh, wait, where was this? Oh, I was in BJ's. Recently, I was in BJ's, and I'm online or in line, however, whoever wants to say what, it's all the same. And this guy was like on two lines, and he was just like, what line are you on? I'm not trying to make fun of him, but like he had these open sandals. His toes.
Shout out to the open toe sandals.
Yo, his toes look crazy. I mean, crazy.
Anybody with crazy toes, I ain't messing with you.
Oh man,
you should have let him skip.
No.
Nah, you don't want beef for the open toe.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's in my mind right now the way those toes are. But you know what? Everybody don't have. I'm not even trying to make it fun.
No smoke with nasty toe, open toe sandals.
No.
First of all, he's brave enough to have open toe sandals. You don't want to smoke with a dude like that.
Well, that's true. But see, he
doesn't care.
No, he was acting crazy, and you know what? He was just like, I was on the line. I said, listen, there's two lines here. That line goes over there.
Yeah.
He said something else, and I ain't gonna lie. I thought he said something to me that he didn't say. He said, what did he say to me? He said something about, you don't know what I'm gonna do. And I said, what I said? What I said to him, something about, well, do it. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna get hurt. But I found out later he wasn't really talking about. I thought he was trying to threaten me.
Oh. So
I was just like,
what was online for? You said BJ's?
In BJ's.
Man, y'all was trying to get like yogurts and shit.
No, I had a whole bunch of food that, it's crowded in BJ's. And I'm thinking he was starting trouble with me, but he really wasn't. Oh. But he was talking tough. And, a lot of the people, a couple of ladies was kind of annoyed by him. And I just got there, so I didn't know what was going on. But he was just...
I'll never fight somebody with open toes. No.
I wasn't trying to fight. I just told him, you're going to hurt yourself. I just warned him in the nicest way. I said, go ahead, but you're going to hurt yourself. And he meant something else.
I've done that, though.
What's that?
No, I've assumed somebody meant something.
Yeah.
And really got crazy. And then I said, oh, yo, somebody recently hit me up, reminded me of something I did in high school. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
Man. So, I'm going to say the long story short.
Right.
I seen my boy fighting someone
Yeah.
and he was losing.
Right. Right.
And me not minding my business, I was wrong and reckless. I went and hit the dude that was fighting my boy, and when he turned around, I knew him too.
Oh
But I didn't really know him. But he was like, David, what happened? what? I thought he was cool. I felt like complete garbage. When you live, you learn, man. You don't know what's going on. It's somebody's business. But I mean, he was pounding on somebody I knew, and I was just like, yo, what the fuck? And instead of me like separating or minding my business, which I should have did, I'm just like, yo, get off my man. And then,
we do when we young, we do a lot of silly things, and we could only try to at least, change one, and then also try to help younger kids.
Right. But see, that's why I'm understanding to certain things because I've been there.
Right.
It's just about when you're grown though, and you on the line arguing with younger kids for some Jordan sneakers and stuff, for people getting shot. Even though younger kids shoot too, but you bring a gun. You bringing a gun to some sneakers. I mean, either for protection or you just really, like you said earlier, looking for some kind of gun.
A lot of people want to be the coolest person. Oh, don't mess with him. He's crazy or whatever.
Yeah, that's just the way. That's the wrong way to go about it.
And I don't want to get into the whole fact of a lot of parents swear. I think they literally lie. They'll lie straight up. I don't think they're that naive that they don't know the possibilities of what their children might be doing.
Right.
I see kids doing so many things out there, and I'm sure I'm not the only person.
Right.
So if you see other children doing these things, why would you assume your children never will?
What I think is the fact that as a person you're judging another kid on that, what that kid's doing is terrible. That should show you that your child probably knows you feel that way about those type of things. So of course they're gonna hide that behavior from you in particular. So it's just like, if your kid sees you judging another kid for like standing up on the bus and walking back and forth, they're gonna hide that kind of behavior from you. But it doesn't mean they're not doing it. So it's just, it's like an effect of just a circle effect of, and then but what makes it worse though is the fact that they hold that pride to their children, and believing that looking down on other people is what prevents their kids from doing it.
I kind of think that a lot of single parents, and not just mothers, fathers too. I'm going to say mostly mothers only because there are more single mothers than there are dads. So I would say, and I've witnessed, and I've been around situations where mothers will, my child isn't that way, in fact, when they truly are that way. And I think that because of the guilt, not having the single parent, the single parent takes responsibility of and feels sorry for their child, which I don't think is a good idea at all. Because of it, they make excuses and they try to, give them a leniency with doing or saying things. When a child disrespects an adult, that should be addressed immediately. A lot of parents will laugh or say, well, did you do something to them for them to react that way? Well, yeah, you address all of it. But if you don't address your child right there on the spot, because you're afraid that they're going to get a stigmatism or they're going to feel so embarrassed, I think this is where the problem is.
Right.
And it's not just necessarily knowing boundaries. It's about teaching them. Okay, you really think that's okay to do? Why do you think that's okay to do? It doesn't have to be necessarily a screaming match or just I'm going to yell at you or you automatically go into the corner. Okay, why did you do that?
Yeah, it goes further than just, I guess, addressing their issues on why they're doing it. I think it's also parents' own behavior sometimes might be responsible for, whether they're doing something or not doing something. I think a lot of parents, we get defensive of our children's behavior because we don't want to look at the fact that it's something that we're doing. you know, or not doing, you know.
Right.
So it's like we're being defensive on different, you know, and it's almost as if you're calling us inadequate as parents because of our children's behavior.
Makes sense.
So it's like, okay, I know me and my morals and things I would do, so my child wouldn't do it. But it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, you're being scrutinized for your actions. Sometimes it's not your actions. Sometimes it's lack thereof.
Makes sense.
And so, I mean, you know, it trickles down from, I think, traits from generations before or taboo and a lot of those things that I don't think are healthy to bring in a parent-child relationship. Things that even I have brought down from, you know, generational stigmas and things that, you know, and I think what the problem is as parents, sometimes we feel since we are, you know, garnered that title, we feel like it's hard for us to look at ourselves and critique or even change or feel like, you know, we don't have it figured out. Because sometimes if we do come to the understanding of not having things figured out, we feel like scared. Oh, I must be messing up, you know? So it's just like, I think, you know, I don't know if you're talking about anything in particular, but
I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about different experiences. It's been many.
Right.
Where, you know, just different things like excuses and, oh, well, you know, it's not their fault. It's your fault.
Right.
You know, it's because of how you engage with the child or whatever. When you're just saying simple things or just playing around. Joking.
I mean, and that too, that is, I think, a backlash from the generation before. I guess they would call it the boomers.
Yeah.
But as far as adults always being right and the child not being heard.
Right. And
so as a child, you keep in mind, like, when I get older, I'm not going to treat my child in that manner where they're unheard or everything is their fault.
Right.
And adults can't be wrong. So I think that's a sway back on the, no, my child is going to be heard or my child is going to be validated, or, you know, and everything's not going to be their fault. But finding that balance it's really hard.
That makes a lot of sense. And, you know, and obviously that's something that, you know, that person's still carrying with them.
Right. That's that generational trauma, man. That's
absolutely
important.
And for me personally, I know how, for whatever reason, you know, I'm very particular about what I eat, how it's prepared, and it's been something even I was told ever since before I could remember how picky I was with food. So, and I've been in situations where, like, I've been told you have to eat that. Not necessarily from my mother, but like, you have to eat that food. Things like I've never eaten before, the way it smells, the way it looks, things like that I would literally prefer to not eat at all.
Right.
So, you know, when I was in a situation with my children, I just was like, then you never have to eat all your food. You know, but it wasn't like you asked for something and then you didn't. I never had that issue where it's like, if you asked for something and you didn't eat it.
Right.
But, you know, I'm sure there's been other situations. And then, of course, it's very different from wanting candy for dinner.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And
it's not black and white. Yeah.
And I think a lot of parents don't really want to separate the two. They think it's the same somehow.
Right.
But that's just another story. That's just, you know, where, you know,
I mean, like, again, the whole generational thing is whereas I've been in households where it'd be ruled not to clean your plate, but I think that comes from them and their poverty, you know, and like we didn't have a choice to eat. We had Spam and this, you know.
And it was in front of us.
We ate what was in front of us to survive, and you know what? I understand that sentiment. I do.